those peak hours will do so. Hopefully I answer your question.
Yes, and I have a second question in reference to the requirement to test. Is that being based on their permanent duty location, or where they're actually working out of? Because we have agents that are detailed out in a different county, different state.
Correct. It should be the location that they're working in, and that should be monitored by you, obviously, and hopefully by the proper CDC community levels. I think it's all about proper communication, I think. Teddy, you may want to comment on that as well.
Yeah, thanks for the question. But yes, it is the responsibility of the supervisors and the program office POCs to make sure that the list for every employee that has to be tested is updated with the actual work location where the employee physically is, to determine whether that county code is in the low, medium, or high area for testing.
Does that answer your question, Alfonso?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great.
And Dr. Chow, there was a comment in the chat or a question, so I'll read it so you have access to that. If testing is scheduled by the coordinator for employees, are they CC'd on the email notifications so the coordinator knows the employees were notified of their testing date? So is the coordinator receiving a copy of the email to the employee?
Teddy, Joe, if I may answer that question. Teddy, that at very early on when we set up the program, we are asked not sending any additional emails to POCs, to coordinators at that time. So no, the answer is no. The email notification reminder only sent to the employee, the users.
Thank you, Dr. Yu. And I do know that if a coordinator has an issue or concern, they can reach out to Denise or myself and ask, in fact, if emails have been forwarded to certain individuals who may be saying they don't have copies, and Virant can check for that on a case-by-case basis.
Yes, we'll try to accommodate as much as we can when we have, if there's such a need to do so.
Dr. Chow, there's another question in the chat box.
Yes.
Ernesto is asking. Okay, you can see them. Okay, I won't read it then. You can see that.
Okay. I'll read that off. So there's this question from Joseph Parker. If testing is scheduled by the coordinator for employee, oh no, that's the one you just read. From Ernesto Garcia, how do we delete or change existing appointments in the system? So I guess we may want to ask clarification on that, because Dr. Yu just mentioned that we don't want you to actually delete or change existing appointments. So in other words, it's more to clarify, is it cancel an appointment that was previously made by you for someone? And I think that's probably the clarification of that question. And I just want to hear back from Ernesto Garcia, either on chat or confirm on the live mic, if that's the actual question.
Yes, hi, that's what I meant to say. There's a change, so there needs to be a cancellation or moving the employee to another date. Got it.
So Dr. Yu, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah. Sure, which actually this morning I got a few requests for that. And I don't want anyone to cancel or delete appointment, because if you do so, you actually delete as time slot, which will be available to others. If you do have such a need, send your request to our email, and myself or my staff will help you to reschedule that patient, that employee for.
Does that answer your question, Ernesto?
It does. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
One of the things that obviously you've been given a power of using Co-Verified. As you can see, there are many do's but I think even more do nots. And I think that the power of giving you the ability to schedule and look up results gives you also the power to modify certain parameters within this user interface. And I think by giving you that power, there's also some damage that could be done too. I think last week we had like half a day or a day and a half worth of schedules that was just deleted. We had multiple sites that are being created, as Dr. Yu mentioned, that are not necessary. You don't need to create anything. You just need to look on the schedule and choose the people that you want to schedule according to what you choose already on the schedule. No need to create anything. No site creation, no people addition, etc. Everything could be modified or done by simple drop down, as Dr. Yu mentioned, or just selecting the calendar event itself. Okay, you've been given a lot of responsibility, and by being the so-called administrator's points of contact. Is that correct, Dr. Yu and Teddy?
Yes.
Okay. All right. If there are there any additional questions from anyone? If there aren't, we'll continue on how to the section 2 on how to actually review results. Okay, Dr. Yu.
Alrighty. Thanks, Joe. So there are several options to look at the result, and also partially based on what kind of what level of permission you are granted to. The what we call the group metric, which is only look at, that's we can also call as dashboard access, that only look at the positive tests, how many, the number of positive tests per day and in total, nothing else, no detailed information there. And then again, for your information, any positive, so far we don't have any positive test result, but any positive tests, Virant Diagnostics will immediately notify the right POC to immediately, so that won't be a issue. The second choice is you want to look at the list in particular group, and that's where you use the database for. But if you're responsible only for a few employees, and the other way to look at to see is go to that employee and using what we call individual user report. Virant Diagnostics, in particular with the co-verify, the program is actually modified, tailored to provide end of the day daily list based on the requirement of CBC and with that compliant parameter. So here I'll show you again at administrator portal. You will see this function with that screen. I mean that page. You go down to the bottom within the command center. You will see this so-called group metrics. There are a couple other parameters. We are not looking at them, so they are not our interest. The most important thing is this part where we'll look at it. For example, that particular group you belong to, and then we'll say how many user in that group. But then here also be aware that number is not all the employees that the user need to be tested, because administrative user will be also included in that account. And then the positive test and total positive test. This is group metric. Also on the left side, panel, when you look at the database function, you click on that, bring you to this page, and this page will list all the employees in that particular group. Again, there are some parameters we are not interested, only interested for that particular employee, whether they have tests done on certain day and whether they're positive, negative. Again, here, positive, we will notify your organization immediately. And here it just shows someone who's completed registration on what day they complete the registration. And for individual report, then you can get to the page that look at the particular individual in more detail. So in here, just, for example, showing myself, I will be in this demo group. I had the test done on a certain day, which is proctored by our staff, and my test is negative. And then this is when you hit this 3 little button, you will see the what we call electronic report. The patient will able to see. But one thing I do also want to mention, which this question actually come up often too, and then patients say, and people say, "Oh, I'm not restricted." Again, remember there's several other parameters being looked at it in this whole platform, which is not only used for CBP project. So there's the other factor into that consideration. But most importantly for us is that we monitor 7 days, whether people schedule tests, whether they're negative. So this part, sometimes you just have kind of ignore because the particular reason for it. So this brings us to that so-called electronic report, individual report. That's what employee able to see from their, mobile access. This last format of report is specially designed for the CBP project, and which will able to give us so-called by the end of the day or daily or weekly list of employees and their positive, negative, whether they schedule, whether they didn't show up, and all those parameters and code. And this can be downloaded in a certain format that which I show in here. And then this, again, this is not the factor in this particular form. Again, this format's only able access by certain POC with certain permissions. So here, kind of in summary, certain things, again, we keep emphasize, please do not create or delete site. Virant Diagnostics should be the only one active site you see when you get to that page. No other site keep adding it. You add it, we will delete them. You do not create or delete schedules, because only one schedule incorporate with all the link sent to the patient. You create a separate schedule, that schedule will not be able to incorporate, and your staff will not able to get the link to get to the meeting. If you do create additional schedule again, and we have to delete them too, which is totally, again, wasting your time and effort on there. Same thing for the create or delete groups within the group. Please don't do that, because if you do, and we will delete them as well, because they will not incorporate to the whole structure of this platform design for. Common questions, email, phone call come in. There are a lot of issues about password related issues. And then here, Teddy and Denise particular, a lot of emails sent to junk mail, spam folder, because I do believe Brandon mentioned that they go to Outlook, but they do not have a spam folder. So that actually being automatically being deleted. So I think this issue we need to go back to revisit, and particular with Brandon, uh, you know, um, uh, explain it even a little bit better, because we keep having this issue for. And then some is user related. Some patients say, "Oh, I'm not in your database." But if that's the case, let me know. I will add them to the database. But our list is purely based on the CBP sent to the weekly based on that CDC, the MAC, and then that's updated on the weekly basis. For the same reason, and the email say, or questions say, "Oh, I didn't receive my test kit." Again, we send out test kit for everyone. Everyone should get the test, like whether you need testing or not tested. And then weekly, again, will based on the list we send out every week for people who, based on that particular week, need to have tests done. So far, already sent out more than 13,000 test kits. So if someone's still not getting it, that probably still on their way get to their destination. And also here, you as a coordinator, scheduler, you probably have quite a bit schedule related issues. If you need help, please ask, and I'll be the main person to answer the phone calls and emails. And I do pretty much stay with my computer, 24/7. So you send to me, I should be get back to you. If not, definitely within 30 minutes. So, and with that, I think I will stop here, and Joe, I'll let you take over from